Okay, so we've taken a look at creating a brick wall. We added some shading to it. We put some fire and some sticks in the center. Last thing I'm going to do is stick a little concrete ledge on the front, because you know, if you're cooking a pizza in this thing, you want somewhere to put your pizza while it's cooling. So what would a ledge look like sitting in the front here? Well, it would be rectangular. So maybe I'll go to the very top of my stack, make a new transparent layer, grab my marquee tool, and I want it to be around this big. I'll fill that with, let's fill it with 50% gray for now. Hit OK. Command D gets rid of those marching ants. And I'll play with the perspective. Do a Command T, right click inside, Command or Control T, perspective, grab a corner, and I can pull this inwards, I can pull this outwards. Wow, that's going to be one big concrete ledge. I'm going to kind of take into account the perspective, the vanishing point in here, and this is one big concrete ledge. I'm going to make it a little bit narrower. Now, if I simply grab this, I can't pull it inwards. I'm still in perspective mode, but if I right click, I can jump into scale, grab this side, and again, because, you know, new version of Photoshop, if I hold the shift key, there we go. Now I can make this a longer, okay, that's a really, really long panel, or I can make it a shorter panel, just a little board sticking out the front there to rest the pizzas on. And when I hit return, kaboom, there. Oh, it looks really thin, doesn't it? Almost like a little piece of paper. If this was an actual concrete slab, well, let's take a look at Ron's here. Oh, it's got some dimension to it, doesn't it? It's got some thickness. What could I do for that thickness there? I could probably just take my marquee tool. We'll call this one let's call it a slab. There we go. I'll make a new layer, which I'll call front of slab. There we go. Grab my marquee tool and just make a little rectangle there, which I will fill with 50% gray. Deselect. Now this is just a little rectangle sitting in front there. This is just a little piece of trapezoid sitting on top there. And unfortunately, I can't really tell where the front ends and the top begins. How could I define the top and front? I could do some shading, couldn't I? What if I made a new transparent layer, clipped it to my slab, and I'll just call it slab shading. And with a paintbrush, fairly low opacity, maybe 20% or so, I could do a little bit of shading on this slab on the top there. Yeah. And probably the front side, this little line here, should have some shading as well. So I'll make a new layer, clip it, call it front of slab shading. And I could do a little bit of shading on that as well. There we go. Now you can decorate that any way you want. I have a version I did in another class where I added a little pizza on the front there, played around with the perspective. I just grabbed that off the interwebs. Same thing with this little ivy. I put some ivy up above, put some shading behind the ivy up there, and I put this little guy hiding in the back. And you can see there's a bit of a different look. Again, everybody's is going to be different. You can see my fire is a different shape. My sticks have a little bit of a different look. The perspective is a little bit oh, and I did do the rounded top on the front. I guess I was feeling enthusiastic then. You can see the shading around the outside, and you can see all the different layers that make this thing what it is. There's the back wall, there's the shading on the back wall. Play around with yours, see what you can come up with. When you're happy with what you've got, save it up as a layered PSD file and pop that into the Dropbox. And that's about it.